And we are live.
I think so.
I think so.
I like to verify on the page as well. Oh, my watch just told me that Nutriground Martial Arts is now live.
It's futuristic.
I hope everyone else's watch tells them that.
Episode 21.
Yeah. So last week we talked about
Negative. Well, last week we didn't talk about anything because we had a lot of
yeah.
busy stuff going on. But the week before that, we talked about negative reinforcement and kind of educated people on what that is, because I feel like a lot of people kind of screwed that up, including myself.
Yeah.
Until I started looking into it. And we found that negative reinforcement is actually a very powerful tool. That's when we take something away before a behavior is done to kind of decrease the chance of that behavior being seen. So this is like, we leave the kid at home so that we don't have to have a meltdown in public, right? What we get is we don't get a meltdown in public, but eventually we're going to have our child out, and about. And this is where positive reinforcement can come in. And this is where positive reinforcement can be misused unintentionally. So positive reinforcement is the addition of a reinforcer after a desired behavior to increase the probability the behavior happens.
What you're saying is negative is before.
Yeah, and you take something out of the equation.
Yep. And then positive is after.
Is after.
Makes sense.
Yes. Positive, you have to add something. One of the easiest ways to remember positive reinforcement is to think of it as something being added. So example is after you execute like a maneuver during like a skiing lesson and your instructor says, "Great work," positive reinforcement. At work, you exceed your sales quota, so you get a bonus. Positive reinforcement. Okay. Important thing to note about this is that you can positively reinforce poor behaviors with yourself, with your kids.
So the thing to understand is like positive reinforcement isn't good reinforcement.
Yeah.
It's not bad reinforcement. It's like adding positive, like addition.
Yeah.
Right. So you're adding into it negative, subtracting something from it. So I think we just kind of twist the words at how we think of what positive means. The word positive can have multiple meanings, right? So we need to think of it in the way that we are adding to the situation. And that adding to the situation can result in a good reinforcement, a bad reinforcement, but it can also be a good reinforcement, reinforcing a behavior that you don't actually want in the future again.
Yes.
Right? And we see that a lot of times with parents.
Yeah. So like, I know when it's especially when we're in public. It was something that drove my dad nuts. If like we were throwing a fit at a store or at a restaurant or whatever, we get embarrassed and we do whatever we can to kind of get our kids to kind of chill out. You know what I mean? And then so we give them the extra attention. We sometimes even like treat them with like gifts or something like that. And then what we're doing is we're positively reinforcing the misbehavior.
So you take your kid shopping at Target and you have to go pick up laundry detergent. Your kid's like, "I want to look at toys," and starts whining, right?
Yeah.
And then you go take them to look at toys, but that was not your intent of going.
Yeah.
But you just positively reinforce that action at when they go to the store. If they whine and you give them something after the fact, then they're going to do that again in the future.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, well, that makes sense. I can use this, behavior to get what I want. Even get toys, you can get candy, I can get whatever I want." And so this happens all over the place. I mean, I think that's probably one of the most common parenting mishaps, or just being interactions with children. So it's better to understand what you're doing, and understand what positive reinforcement is and use it specifically. There's a couple different forms of positive reinforcement. They all have their own points, And it's important to note that you have to use, if you're going to actually use this as a tactic, as like a reinforcement tactic, like a parenting tool, to know when or what type of positive reinforcement is going to work the best. Because gold stars work well for children.
Yep.
They probably aren't going to work as well for like your employees.
I mean, I would like. Do I get a sticker? I'm gonna start giving stickers to you. You're gonna start getting stickers.
Stickers, just like gold star stickers.
Talon, you did a good job today. I'm gonna make a Talon board with like Monday through Friday. It's gonna be like a Talon calendar. And every day you do a good job, I'm gonna give you a little gold star. You know what? I'm gonna get the multicolored ones where each row of stars is different color, and you can pick your color that day.
Oh wow,
is that nice of me?
No.
So let's talk through. I'll throw a curveball at you.
Throw a curveball.
Let's talk through the four different types of positive reinforcement.
Okay.
And let's pretend, because next weekend we're missing Rise and Grind because Talon's competing in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do you a favor and do this as if you just won the tournament.
Ooh, okay.
And how are you positively reinforced potentially throughout with the different types and at the end?
Well, I think, so
how'd your first match go?
Knowing the list. The first match, I came in with Kosoto Gake right off the bat, 4 points, pinned win.
Cool. So you pinned him, you won.
Boom.
Easy match.
Match.
Textbook execution. Perfect. So what positive reinforcement happened after the match?
Well, it would have probably have gotten social reinforcement.
Okay, what's that?
Social reinforcement is the approval of your peers. So, I come back to the team, they say good job, good work. Coach says good work. And that's a positive reinforcement.
Like high fives?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a social. So it's a very powerful one. It's very good for adults. It's the way the best adults work very well through social.
It's like an acknowledgement, right?
Yeah.
Verbal acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement.
You did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Now we can go through the process. Let's say I win the tournament, I win a gold medal.
Yeah.
Now I have a there's two types of this one. There's token and there's tangible. I think we're gonna call this token.
Okay.
Because it just represents something. So a token are like points or gold stars or tickets, right? That eventually get exchanged for something of value. So I guess maybe not token.
So potentially, for you to get to Ireland, right, you had to win a tournament, and a lot of times, if you want to go compete internationally, you need to actually win points at tournaments, right?
Yeah.
So you compete at a bunch of little tournaments. If you do well in those tournaments, you get points, right? Those points are like your tokens to trade in to essentially go to a bigger tournament or invited to like an international tournament, right?
Yep.
Think of it like winning tickets at Dave & Buster's, right?
Yep.
You go there, you win a bunch of tickets, you can trade that in for something of higher value.
I know a lot of schools, at least when I was in elementary school, they had done like the ticket system.
Yeah. We used to get tickets all the time, and we have like a mystery box and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've heard them recently, they work backwards. So you start with tickets and then you get them taken away from you.
Ooh.
Which is a little bit different.
That's a little bit different. That's the punishment, though.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. Anyhow.
Anyways.
So
it could be a token.
Yeah,
but
it could be
also
token.
What's tangible?
Tangible involves like an actual thing. So physical rewards like money, treats,
A sucker.
Yeah, things like that. Like it's very, very powerful, but it should be used with caution because you're probably gonna run into anteing. So I've used
ante up like cards.
Kind of like that. Like so,
magic?
let's say I have like you did something cool and I rewarded you with a sucker. You're like, okay, and I keep doing this behavior. I keep getting a sucker, but what happens when I want more?
Oh,
it's like, well, I'm not going to do this unless I get 2 suckers.
Oh,
well, I got a sucker last time. This time I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Like
it's trickery.
It's trick. So that's the problem. And people are smart, especially kids. So you have to be careful with tangible. Tangible probably being the most powerful.
Yeah.
But then there's the fourth one, and the fourth one is much underappreciated, and let's use the tournament aspect. I come back from Ireland, I win. Mm-hmm. I get the social, I get the tangible from the gold medal, but I get the natural positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
I trained hard, I fought hard, and I won the tournament. That's my positive reinforcement. I studied hard, I did everything I had to prepare for the test, and I passed. You could say, like, just it's the natural outcome of your actions can be a positive reinforcer in and of itself. Like, I've been on a diet for the past 3 months and I'm down 20 pounds.
Yeah, and I think the issue that a lot of people have is they don't recognize themselves for achievements that they get, mm-hmm. right? It's, I won. But, like, you need to, embrace that. You need to...
Like, I won. Like, holy crab apples.
Right? Live your accomplishments. Yeah. And that will help you go to your next accomplishment.
Yeah, we talked about that in...
I'm trying to think of what episode that was.
We talked about like, needing to accomplish...
Yeah, like...
Was it Blue Belt Blues, or was it...
one of those earlier episodes.
Yeah. But then we were talking about leave time for you to celebrate. Like, appreciate what you did.
And, like, giving yourself permission to do it ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I win... Right, I'm going to like it. Like,
I'm
okay with me winning a tournament.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. So we had So we could go backwards.
Yeah.
Right? We had natural,
which is just the fruits of your labor.
Yep. Tangible, which is like a medal.
Tangible, like something like a medal. If you're talking to a child, it's going to be the treats. If you're buying a toy, or if it's like your teenager, money.
Yep. Tokens are kind of like tangible, but it's not really the end result, right?
Yeah,
Tokens
those are going to be like your gold
time.
Stars in the classroom. They're going to be your points. They're going to be your tickets to get traded in. Mm-hmm. And then social. What everybody wants.
Good job, excellent work.
Yeah.
High five, pat on the back.
High five,
When's the last time you got a pat on the back?
It's been a while.
I challenge you guys today. Pat someone on the back for a job well done.
It makes him feel good.
Or just pat him on the back.
It's warm.
You pat him on the chest too?
That's a little more. It's a little
different.
Way different.
I'm okay with it. On the head. Like a puppy.
Like a puppy.
But let's talk about real quick how positive reinforcement can be dangerous.
Because
the title of this podcast this time is Positive Reinforcement. With great power comes great responsibility.
Well, we discussed the positively enforcing bad behaviors. Mm-hmm. There's also a way to inadvertently reinforce, like we'll call them intervening behaviors, things that may not have anything to do with what we're talking about. So there's a window, a time window. You want to use your positive reinforcement immediately after the good behavior. The further away the reinforcer is to the behavior, the less the connection between the two will be. The weaker the connection the two will be.
Yeah. And, we tell parents this all the time, that it's usually more on the negative side of things. And it works for this as well. But one of our students has an issue in school. Like, you're best off just texting us, emailing us, calling us right away, and not waiting 2 days until you actually have class, right?
So you can do something about it.
Because the impact is so much less the more time there is between the huge incident and whatever the reinforcement is.
Absolutely. And then you can even have it, because this is psychology, there can be some funkiness that goes on. So let's say that you did well at work 3 days ago, right? And then yesterday or let's say 2 days ago, and yesterday you did something like you made a pot of coffee, right? And then the day after you get congratulated on your good work. And this is just total example, but you could be reinforcing the making the pot of coffee. Does that make sense?
So they're just going to take the reinforcement as like one of their most recent events.
What's the most recent thing that happened? Like, I woke up on I'm having a hard time explaining
No, I get it, and it might be like it's potentially more of a subconscious thing.
It's definitely more of a subconscious thing.
So you do event A, and then you do event B, and then you get congratulated for event A.
Event B gets reinforced,
but your subconscious
because it's been
your subconscious will be Yeah.
Yeah.
Event B.
So it's crazy. So you gotta you have to be you want to be sharp, and if you're using this, like if you're using what we call operant conditioning as a coaching or parenting tool, you need to do it right away. The good job comes right after the behavior, the gold star, the treat.
It's like training a dog.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah, it's exactly like training.
But like if you watch dog training videos, like they have that stuff down to a science.
Oh yeah, they do something good, you click, you give them a treat. Click, treat, click, treat,
And then you can eventually remove the treat.
Yeah.
And just give them a click.
And then you remove the click.
And then they just do it.
And that's the way it is.
But, that's not just how it works for kids. That's how it works for everything. Like athletes, adults. That's just how it works.
Yep. So you can use use your negative reinforcement so you can plan. You can take potential roadblocks out of the situation, right? And then once you get what you need or you see what you need, congratulate yourself, congratulate the person you're trying to coach, congratulate your child, and use one of these reinforcers. So
cool. Well, excellent. I like it. I learned a lot doing these. I know you did the research for the last two.
It was amazing. I fell into a behavioral operant conditioning hole.
I would too. That's why I didn't do it. Do we have a plan for next podcast?
It's gonna be awesome.
It is gonna be awesome. We don't have it yet. Next week we're gonna be out.
Next week we'll be out.
Talon's gonna be.
Maybe I'll do a little post from Ireland.
People in Ireland. Oh yeah, you should go live on Facebook.
I should go live in Ireland.
We could actually, depend on the time zones, we could do a live together from Ireland. I might be able to figure the technology out, nerd it up. So
let's do it.
Well, awesome. Well, we are. You're running hills at 9.
Yep.
I need to let my jacked up knee rest a little bit from running hills. It's not been happy lately. But if you guys liked our podcast, hearts, likes, reviews, shares, share this with someone who you think could benefit from it.
Yes, please do.
It would be awesome.
That's the goal.
Well, great. Thanks a lot, guys.